Good. Hey guys, Brian here from Stogie Review at IPCPR 2015. I'm here with the legendary Steve Saka, now of Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. And he's brought something new here to the trade show, and he's going to tell us about it. Tell us about it.
It's a cigar. It's in a box. More you need to know.
That's it. All right, we're good.
We're done.
We're done.
It's over.
It's brown and it burns. Damn it.
You know, I find that word that you use, legendary, kind of odd.
Legendary?
Yeah, you know, because, you know, I started off as like a super uber cigar geek. So like for me, when I think legendary, I think like Ernesto Perez Carrillo. I think Orlando Padron Sr. They're legendary. I'm just some guy that smokes cigars. So it's a little bit, I appreciate the compliment, but it's a bit of a stretch.
You're a little bit, maybe it is, but you're a little bit.
In fact, it's a lot of a stretch, let's be honest.
Just a little bit beyond just a
fat guy that smokes cigars.
A little bit more than that. A little bit more. A little bit more.
Yeah,
tell us. Sobremesa.
Basically, Sobremesa. Sobremesa, the literal translation is over the table. But that's not at all what it means. It's an idiom that's used in Latin culture to describe the period of time that after you have your evening meal, most Latins, Italians, Spanish, wealthy Nicaraguans, they don't get up from the table and go play their Xbox and watch television and go back to work. They always stay at the table and they enjoy each other's company for like 30 minutes to an hour every single meal. They have their cafe, they have a little pastre, they smoke their cigars, and they just tell jokes and enjoy each other's company. So that period of time actually has a term, and it's called Sobremesa. And that's where it comes from. And it's just, for me, it's a perfect expression of when is a wonderful time to enjoy a cigar.
It makes sense, because all of that socializing over the table.
That's correct. That's what it is. It really blows me away, because all my Latin friends, all my Cuban friends, they see it and they go, wow. And they smile and they go, why didn't I think of that? Yeah. You know, because they do it every day. You know, but they never really realized it. So, but yeah, the name's one thing. You know, obviously what's important is the cigar. So, I mean, I did what I always do. I tried to make the very best quality cigar I could that I personally happen to love. You know, I, as always, solicited nobody else's opinions, gave no pre-release samples away to see what anybody else thought about it, because I always still subscribe to that one tenet. You should never try to make a cigar that everybody likes, because you ultimately make a cigar that nobody loves. So I make a cigar that I personally love. Now, whether somebody else will love it, I don't know. But I want to know that when they try it, that they know that the love and the attention, the detail, I put everything into it, and it has a definite perspective and point of view. And ultimately, each individual consumer is going to decide whether it's right for them or not right for them. I'm hoping that maybe a couple guys out of 100 think it's good enough that they'll add it to their daily rotation. But that's all I can hope for.
All right. And so details about the blend itself.
Sure.
What can you tell us?
Well, let's backtrack a little bit. I'm having the cigar crafted for me by my friends at Hewitt of Nicaragua.
Okay.
Hewitt of Nicaragua has been making cigars, primarily Nicaraguan puros, for about 46 years now. They make a wonderful Nicaraguan puro. But in some ways it almost hurts them too, because they're so focused on certain tobaccos that they don't have a lot of variety, you know what I mean, in their blends. Now I must admit, under Juan and with Miguel coming up, it's expanding. Like, they got a new CCRE out. I don't know if you smoked that yet.
Not had it yet.
It's a good cigar. It's definitely worth checking out. But in the end, one of the deals was, when I was talking to Alejandro, I said, listen, I love you guys. You're honest guys. You're great guys. You can make a great cigar, but everything you make tastes relatively the same, little variations. So if we're going to do this, you're going to have to let me bring new tobaccos into the factory. You know, we'll work out how those are going to get paid for. Some I'm going to buy, some I'm going to ask you to make the investment in, but it's the only way it's going to work. And in the end, the final blend actually has 6 tobaccos that aren't really in any of their current blends. Okay. In fact, the only common shared ingredient is that very common. What's this? I got a fly, man. It's so sweet.
You're near the food court.
Yeah. But it's got ASP Ligero, which is a very common leaf that's used to just give a bit of punch. But it's pretty much a ground-up blend for those guys, and it's basically a 5 tripa blend. And The 4 primary leaves in it are Nicaraguan, and then the 5th one is a U.S. U.S. Pennsylvanian broadleaf. The base leaf is a Saka that's grown in Condega. It's a little bit more rounded and a little bit more creamier. It's kind of more like a jalapa grown seed than actually a Condega seed, and it's grown by my friends at GK. And then the first Viso in the blend, I buy from little farmers in Pueblo Nueva, and I think you'll see a few other people using this tobacco. I think Skip uses it in some of his blends. It's an interesting tobacco. It's grown west of Condega, and it's not grown in a typical tobacco valley. It's actually grown in little, small, individual manzana here, 2 manzanas there. So you kind of like have to deal with the individual farmers. There's not any real serious commercial growth. Yeah, so it's like, so you gotta go talk to Pedro, and then you gotta go talk to Jose, and you gotta talk to Chepe, and you gotta cobble what you need together. But I like it because it has a distinctly unique taste to it. It has a real cederiness to it that I find really pleasing. The other Viso is grown in Esteli by La Jolla, not to be confused with Joya de Nicaragua. La Jolla is the name of the Oliva farm in Esteli. Okay. And the seed is a Criollo C98 sun-grown, very typical leaf, you know, with a lot of those Esteli Ligeros. But what makes it unique is how they ferment it. What they do is they ferment it in sheets. So rather than making a gavilla where you have typically 50 leaves padded together in a hand of tobacco and building it alone, what they do is they string the tobacco a la plancha on a string so it's nice and flat like you're having paper dolls. And then they take that tobacco and they float it up in the air and they lay it like you're laying a bed sheet. And it floats down. And what ends up happening is you get very even contact because every front, every back is exposed to the next layer above it. So what it allows you to do is it allows you to ferment it at a much lower temperature, but yet you get a better fermentation. So the leaf ends up retaining a lot more flavor because it's always a, you know, fermentation is always a compromise. You know, you have to heat it up, you have to let it get hot, but yet that's also robbing you of flavor. But yet if you don't, it ends up tasting green or it doesn't burn right. Yeah. So it's a very unique method that they're using to ferment. In fact, I think they're the only ones in Nicaragua currently that are doing this. So mark my words, I'm telling you about La Jolla, Tripas. Next year you're going to hear a bunch of companies telling you about this. I guarantee you, because it's really an amazing package. It's so amazing that once the Jolla guys started working with it, they instantly committed to like 100+ bales for a future product of theirs. They were so impressed with it. Then it's got 2 Ligeros. It's got the ASP hybrid. I don't use a lot of it. I like the pepperiness that it gives you, but it can be a bit overwhelming. And I cut it with using the Pennsylvania Maduro Ligero, which gives you a lot of body, but it doesn't give you the same peppery sharp nature. But yet it gives you a lot of strength, but without it being picante. So that's the basic Tripa. And then the wrapper on it is a grade 1 Ecuador Habano. It's from La Meca, which is the Oliva's best farm. And it's a very pretty wrapper. It's got some flavor, but it's a kind of more mellower wrapper. So for me, when you use that wrapper, particularly on any priming or cut less than number 7, and most of these are right at about 6 cuts, 6 to 7 cuts, so it's right on the borderline for me. The binder becomes much more important in this scenario. And I wanted something that was going to give a lot of sweetness to the cigar. And I had met these farmers a while back out of Mexico, small guys. I call them the taco makers. I'm sure I'm gonna get in trouble for that. Yeah. But they do. They make great tacos. So anyways, it's Pablo and Carlos. They have this small little farm. It's called Vegas de Perros, the farm of the dogs, right? Wow. Yeah. Farm of the dogs. Great name, right? I'm like, hey Carlos, why is the farm named the Farm of the Dogs? We got a lot of stray dogs. Oh, okay, I understand. Yeah. So anyways, it's in the Matacapan region. But what makes it unique is they plant their crop very late in the season so that it can be naturally irrigated by the rain. So they call the tobacco de temporal, which means the storm. Okay, so it's the tobacco of the storm. And I don't know if it's the dogs, I don't know if it's the rain, I don't know why. There's something just so incredibly inherently sweet in that tobacco that I fell in love with it. So I ended up using that as
advantage was, but yeah, I guess that must be.
You know what? I don't want to pretend to know why. I just know that when I smoke it in a tobacciato and when I add it to cigar, just has such nice lingering sweetness to it. And I really, really enjoy it. And that's it. 7 different tobaccos, 7 different farms. Hey, this sounds kind of familiar now I think about it. Anyways, you know, but it's a pretty complex blend. You know, strength-wise, I would put it like 6.5 to 7-ish.
Okay.
I've only done traditional Vitolas. I've done a Corona, I've done a Lonsdale, I've done a Robusto, I've done a Toro, I've done a Bellicoso, and I've done a Corona Doble. I've done no super larges. You know, I don't tend to smoke a lot of these super larges. You know, I'm doing what I like.
Yeah, if you're going with what you like,
yeah, it's what I like.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm hoping that, you know, consumers will give it a fair shake and see. If I had to describe it, how would I describe it? It's a lot of notes of cedar, cafe, kind of like that dried cocoa, but not the cheap Hershey's crap, like that Dutch pressed dried cocoa. And it's got a really good, the thing that I really like at this cigar, and this was something I actually focused on when I was blending it, is the retrohale.
Retrohale.
It's got a really nice kind of Telecherry pepper sweetness to it. So it's got the zing, but it's that nice even sweetness out of it. And I mean, I really focused. This is really a geek cigar, is what this is.
It sounds like
I mean,
I'm excited.
That's something that, you know, most manufacturers would never even think about focusing, because not that many people retrohale. But this cigar, really to really get the most out of it. But yet, it isn't that punishing retrohale that turns so many people off. So
yeah.
I think it's going to be really, really pleasing. And then the final thing I'd say is that sweetness, just long, lingering sweetness. Sweetness on the tongue, sweetness on the lips. I think it's a wonderful cigar, but who knows what other people will think, you know?
Yeah.
We'll see.
So how's the reception been? How's sales been?
Well, I've been overwhelmed. I didn't know what to expect. You know, when I write that stuff on Facebook about being apprehensive, some people I just say I just do it for me, but honestly, I don't know. You know, show attendance is down. There aren't a lot of buyers here. In the first 2 days, I actually wrote enough orders to cover the entire first 4 months of production.
That's impressive.
And I've given no samples out because they're wet and they suck. It's kind of Russian roulette. Well, they just started producing 4 weeks ago.
Understood,
you know,
yeah.
And I want people to taste it the way it's meant to be tasted. And then they can decide if they don't like it. I'm okay with that. But I don't want to hand somebody a cigar and say, well, you really need to smoke it for 4 weeks.
You're really not going to remember to do that.
Right. You know, and even I want them to get it the way it's supposed to be and then decide if they like it or don't. So I've given no samples, I've got no deals, and I'm giving nobody any terms. It's like the worst sales pitch in the world. And I'm also, my booth, if you swing your camera around, I could not be in a worse physical location.
Ask if they need to
on the trade show floor. I'm here in hot dog land. I'm literally at the ass end of the universe. Am I wrong?
No, you're not
like
wrong.
a mile away.
You're like orbiting the trade show. You're not even here.
I'm not in the trade show. You're right, exactly. And yet I'm just blown away by the blind faith, people coming in here and, you know, willing to support us, and I really, really appreciate it.
You've built trust in the industry. People trust when you say something this is going to be a good thing. I like this.
You know what?
Trust you.
But I'm also honest enough to know that not everything's a winner. You know, and I don't expect. You know, there's no past performance is not a guarantee of future successes.
It's true.
It just simply isn't. You know, you have to earn it every single day, and just.
But if you got to take the gamble, you go with somebody who's got a track record. So.
And hopefully we'll see. Plus, what'd you say? I'm legendary.
The legendary. Yes. The legendary.
Yeah, bullshit.
Okay, some of it was tongue-in-cheek, but still. So, one last thing. Did we cover the retail on this? What are we looking for?
Oh, too expensive.
Too expensive?
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like, no.
$93.
No, it's the Corona, the suggested retail is $9.90. The Corona Doble is running right around $13.45. It's not a cheap cigar. But let me say something to people.
Where the industry kind of is right now.
That's what it costs to make a cigar of that quality. Whether you like it or you don't like it, that's a different story. Whether you think it's worth the money or not worth the money, you're not getting robbed when you buy it. I mean, you saw the scan on my booth. This furniture that's in here, this is from Bob's Discount Furniture. Everything in here cost me less than $2,800. I put it in a trailer and I hauled it here myself. Okay, so I got no hats, I got no T-shirts, I haven't got dick. Okay, so all I got is tobacco in a box. So that's where the money's going. So the price is the price. But I know it's an expensive cigar, and it has to be really good in order for people to feel comfortable with it. And that's why, you know, this is one of the things, I know there's a lot of expectations, and I see people writing online that, oh, I'm gonna buy a box, I'm gonna buy a box. Do not buy a box. Buy singles, see if you like it, then buy a box. I would hate to think that somebody's gonna spend $300 sight unseen. It doesn't do me any good for someone to buy something that they ultimately don't end up liking. There'll be other people that like it, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? And I'm making the cigars every month, every day. The pairs are making the cigars. It'll probably be a little hard to get in the beginning, but it isn't going anywhere. Don't pay stupid prices. Don't
panic. Relax.
Yeah, don't panic, man. I mean, I have no intentions on dying, so I'm gonna be making cigars for many, many years. I mean, honestly, what else am I gonna do? Can't be a hand model. I mean. Yeah. So
I was gonna say my hands are prettier than yours, and they've already turned me down. So sorry.
There you go.
Sorry. But,
well, I really appreciate you stopping by,
thanks, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's been a great little talk.
No, it's my pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the legendary Steve Saka.
Bye-bye.